traveling to Fuller.
Oh, oui.
From Xander's to Fuller.
Ooh.
For that.
Okay, it's not the same.
Ooh. So it's not tubes and tunnels.
No. Right. In fact, if it might be good then to look at this. Ah, yes. So there is no population. Now there is a starport there, starport C, but it is, as far as I can tell, therefore automated or otherwise.
The population
Do it yourself. Yeah. It's not no problem. Perfect. But it's not automated like robots. What I mean is it's do it yourself.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Substation.
Yeah. Exactly. And it is a planet about half the size of Earth. It has a thin, tainted atmosphere, which means you will have to wear filters. But it is not very thin, so you don't need compressors or a source of gas. It's just you can tell it's thin, and I bet there's a rule in here about if it's thin, like how you run out of endurance faster or something. But I think, and it is has very little water, only 10%, and is, as far as you can tell, mostly broken up, solid surface, very, very rugged, with lots of, I think, drifts of solid fluid that isn't used. It's not drinkable. I mean, you can't melt it and drink it. It's tainted, right?
Yeah.
So, creatures from a tainted planet have a higher chance of not being edible. For example, their ecology is all wrong.
Yes, and this is one of the sectors we did not want to travel to.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I imagine, since our time is limited, we can simply say that your trip on a luxury yacht from a feudal technocracy is quite an experience. It is, however, still only a world of technology 8 that they come from, which is science fiction-y, but not fantasy.
It is for me. I mean, I'm
Right.
from there.
Well,
Three or something.
Your characters have been around enough to be familiar with things, but yes, it's not the frontier, roughness of your upbringing. That's true. So it is quite luxurious. It's very, very, appropriate for people of noble background in a society where that matters very greatly. So your baths are quite amazing and things like that. And as you will recall, the woman's name is Imbira. The man's name, whom you beat up, is Sufan Nyoka, who is currently recovering.
Oh, okay.
In the yacht. He's going.
Yeah.
And I've decided that what this means is we will treat him as weakened.
Okay.
For everything.
Okay.
There's weakened rules in the combat, and he is just weakened.
So, do my character recoveries?
I have not really carefully looked that up. You were injured.
I think
you lost some endurance.
Yes, I was like at 2 or 3 endurance.
Yeah.
I think it was you're back in 3 days unless you get medical attention. Then you could recover quicker. If only one of your stats was down to 0. And none of your stats were down to 0.
No, but there is also the question of my psychic ability, which also needs like 3 or 4 days to come back.
Okay.
I don't remember the rules exactly, but during one of the first session.
Okay. I think it was like 24 hours, but I don't know.
I'm just thinking like it would be easier if everybody was back to.
Yeah.
Well, that
Yes.
that you would be is what I was assuming. I'm just looking to see if there's any kind of quick reference, but I'm not immediately seeing it. Let's see. That I'm not going to worry about right now. I just had decided that Sufan would be weakened from his experience.
right.
And leave it at that.
Okay. Perfect.
And especially because you took endurance damage, I didn't think of that as being like tissue trauma, particularly.
Okay.
You have learned that the quiet man, is named Buis, B-U-I-S. And he hasn't said very much since then either. And that the small crew that maintains the yacht is extremely efficient and stays out of the way. You're not even sure how many there are because they sort of appear and do a job and then disappear. And the approach then to Fuller is actually pretty nice. You know, a nice trip. You're dealing with people who don't have any trouble with the administration for things, and they are first in line most of the time. Once, however, going off to this world on this route is that line is a route. People do go to this world for reasons of one sort or another, but nobody's going to be accompanying you. There is not regular traffic. There's no ship coming back at the same time you're going. There's no ships in orbit.
I still feel bad about leaving our companions.
Well, they're working out their problems in one fashion or another. They have.
We tried.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're out of the whole story, but they're busy doing that thing. And I'd have to consider what life will be like for them. Perhaps I'll make a law rule. Well, actually, there's a mechanic for it.
So we're leaving our culture behind, aren't we?
I guess
the ship would
Yes.
be there.
Yes, but it is all paid for.
Okay.
And therefore in a secure place and in a civil bureaucracy or something equally formal.
Yes.
And it has a pretty good law rating. So there is no in-story reason so far to think that somebody would try to take it.
Okay.
For example, if you had encountered a criminal ship on the way in, that would be different, but we don't have any in-play suspicions to work from.
I just wanted to remind us all about the realities of
Absolutely.
our characters.
No, it makes perfectly good sense. Now, for Fuller, wait, back to Xander's. Yeah, Law 5. The question is whether they would succeed. And it's not that bad. They only need to get a 5 or higher.
We succeed what?
We're talking about your companions. Right? And so the game has a mechanic when you are trying to either subvert the law or not be caught or simply negotiate it, then you roll this against the law rating. And they don't have any, and I don't think you need a special skill or not, it's just the roll.
Okay.
Yeah, then.
Oh!
Fumble!
And they
Very unlucky.
they will be found guilty by the time you get back. And ordinarily I might have made that roll secretly and just kept a note, or just during preparation, just kept a note for what life was going to be like when you came back. But it's fun to watch for our purposes.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, okay, well, I must say, you're right.
It's
the
like
game keeps giving.
Yes,
Yeah.
And that's like a teaser.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and this will happen.
And so, because our time is limited, as I keep saying, we will jump right into just having fun with a planet.
Okay.
And so the first thing to do is to pull out my encounter tables.
Can we pick the terrain?
And
Will this be the penultimate session?
this is the last session.
This is the last session.
Right.
Okay.
So the way I've done it is I have accepted their generic encounter table. There's a complicated one and a simple one.
Mhm.
And you're supposed to, adjust them.
Yeah, but
And I said, well, we will stay generic.
Yes.
And we're using the simple one.
Okay.
So that side of the system, I'm taking the easy way out.
yeah.
And so
Transition.
the interesting question is, of course, the ship sets down on some broad, flat plains. Nearby, there is a rough and broken sector. Let's see. So I'm going to move this here. Here, that's all old preparation. So yes. Oh, right. No, it's a rough and broken sector nearby, but what's especially interesting, and this is a bit of a shock for you, there are ruins here.
Ooh.
There are ruins of some really old and, misused or destroyed or abandoned, and it's pretty extensive. It's city-sized.
Mm.
So it's not just like a castle or something. So the ship has set down on the open plains near that, which you can see, at a rising, breaking the horizon, dominating the landscape in this nearby area.
Do we know whether we are being hired for the hunt?
Yes. Well,
So-
technically you are accompanying the hunt as guests.
Sure. Does she have her own plan that we are aware of?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, there is a bit of a discussion. Sufan Nyoka, much bruised looking, is determined. This is very important to him, the honor and everything, right? So
Sure.
we are going to. He seems to bear very little grudge.
Which is, he started it. I guess it's fair.
And yet you can see him sometimes eyeing you speculatively, kind of like, how did that skinny guy,
Right.
Years of training
Yeah.
and soldier.
Yeah. So, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, like,
Okay.
he's not glaring at you and
Yeah.
lurking around behind you or anything like that. And the plan is actually to go into the thing you're looking for is actually in the ruins, but there are several steps.
Okay.
The creatures out here on the plains can be quite dangerous, and the best thing to do, if possible, is to kill a few of the bigger herbivores and let the scavengers focus on those instead of, for example, you.
I guess the G&A is totally against using the ship as a weapon.
The yacht, I think the yacht is at a spaceport, and you would have had to drive out here.
Yeah, which it's
Yeah.
a spaceship, I guess. Or can it do that atmospheric flying? There's little atmosphere, so
The spaceport's on the planet, so it can land, but I think that's all it can do.
okay, yeah, you cannot.
It's not an airplane that flies around in an atmosphere and goes where you want.
And this transport is weaponless, or
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is I know what you mean, but this is a luxury vehicle.
Yeah. It's not planet.
And so the key here, for that kind of thing, I think you would need really super tech.
this was a very bad idea.
Yeah. So here you are, driving out in a little Jeep
Yes.
out into this area.
Super dangerous.
Yeah. And
It has not been unheard of, like hunting with I don't know, Granite Rifle or something. Grenade launcher.
Well, this was not what I had in mind. But okay.
But
I'll keep my eyes on that silent guy that you was.
Oh. You
Yes,
think there's any...
Because I don't trust that
That fellow.
Sufon
Yeah.
guy. So even if he's playing like all friendly.
Did you? Yeah.
But on the other hand, if the silent guy would be dead,
Yeah. Well,
or me at least.
did the silent guy did any motion when I used my power last time?
No. As a matter of fact, he seemed not to be paying much attention to the duel. He was much more interested in the wider environment, which is his typical behavior. So the key here is, as I said a moment ago, let me see if I can collect my thoughts. I want to tell you a little bit about what I'm imagining, which is that it's one of those rocky fields where it looks like the ice kind of has flowed around outcroppings of rock. But the part that you're in, it flattens out a lot. So you have these fields, and poking up from the ice are these clumps of stubby yellow foliage, and that the sky. So I'm thinking white for the frozen material, and the rock and stuff is various shades of brown. And then the sky itself is just this very pale blue, almost completely white. So for some reason, I don't know, atmospheric something or other.
That's so it's scattering. If you know atmosphere, that's scattering, I guess.
Who knows? I didn't look anything up.